Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday in my kitchen. Today is a lot going on as usual. I am starting to do like a loaf cake as well as some mini ones for Zachary to take to work. I have stuff that needs to be canned up here. I have the batter for the cake. There's just a lot going on. So let me get you up to speed. We are canning up some of our kibasi that Zachary and I did a taste test for you all on a Saturday evening chat. I can link that down below to get back to that video, but it's kibasi, potatoes, and green beans, and a little bit of a broth with some onions. This is the last jar that I have, so I am canning some of that up. But before I start that, I am doing the cake. So it's just 2 boxes of yellow cake mix that I had that I wanted to use up. I have our honeyed oranges. I have one last one in there so you can see. I used 2 of these, 8 eggs, a half a cup of butter. I used one of these San Pellegrino sparkling orange water, and a half a cup of water in addition to that. And I just mix this up. Now the oranges, I did process them through the handheld food processor, and now I am about to get them in the pans and in the oven. I would have brought you along for all of this, but I was premiering one of our YouTube videos and on the chat with everyone, so I couldn't exactly record and do that at the same time. But whenever I have the opportunity, I like to try and interact with all of you, so this got put on the side burner for that. So let's get it in the oven. Oh, can't forget, I also have some bread dough rising over there. So we have lots happening in this kitchen today. All right, so we're gonna can. So the way that I can is I set up all my ingredients, get everything ready to go. So it's like an assembly line, because when I can, I don't do a small batch canning. Today I'm planning on probably doing 14 quarts, and that is relatively a small batch for me. I'm just not sure how much or how far my kibasi is going to stretch to get this done. If not, I would be planning on doing more. Thankfully, I now have 2 pressure canners, so I know that I can put 7 quarts in each. So that's why I'm aiming for the 14. This is going to have the kibasi, the potatoes, the green beans, a little bit of garlic, some onion, all in the jar, like the one that we taste tested for you. And we really liked this, Zachary and I, so I want to make sure that we have some on the shelves for future use. And I am using today some new bowls that I got. These are Choice is the brand. They were from a restaurant supply store that we stopped at when we were down in Lancaster at Roar Seeds. They were $1.99 a bowl. So I'm so excited to break these bad boys in and get this started. And you can absolutely, okay, so full disclosure, you have to make the decisions for your kitchen. I'm making the decisions for my kitchen. There is not a specific tested recipe for kibasi. However, I have done my research. I've looked into things of the processing. We're processing these at 90 minutes. I would never make anything for my family that I feel could be questionable in any type of way. This is something that I've canned in the past, that we've consumed, that we've enjoyed, that was perfectly fine. This will each jar, I'm getting tongue tied, each jar will be processed for 90 minutes at our elevation. It's 10 pounds of pressure, and these will be a shelf stable item. But again, you have to make the choices for your family and what you are comfortable with. Okay, so all that to say, whew, these are heavy. All that to say, you can do this with fresh green beans and fresh potatoes, but at that restaurant supply store, they had these at a really good price. So I am going to use these. And for the last recipe that I made, we used canned green beans and canned potatoes that we weren't using and weren't really sure what to do with. So I'm going to stick true to my recipe. So let's get these going and there's my timer for our baked good. Well, I can't believe this. This is a, I think like $30 KitchenAid can opener. And this is the can opener that has been around, I think, longer than I've been on this planet. My grandmother has insisted on keeping this thing. I could use it as a weapon. It is so freaking heavy. And yet, this thing is maybe 2 months old, and this will not open the can. I had to go back and get this one. So if anyone has any suggestions on a good can opener, send them my way, because this is a piece of trash. All right. Today I'm trying out a new knife. This one is actually from the restaurant supply store too. As I'm sure you've heard in some of our videos by now, at one time Zachary worked as a cook and cooked for his profession. And I also worked in restaurants, not in the kitchen though. And he said that in all of his experience, the best knives were always the ones that they had in the kitchen. And that would have been from a restaurant supply store. So we're trying this one out. I have to say, I like how lightweight this is. And I specifically picked out the one with the hot pink handle, thinking that Zachary would be like, don't get that. He didn't care. He could have cared less. So now I have a bright pink knife. So I'm curious, out of all of you subscribers out there, who of you feel that you are a really experienced canner? And how many of you feel like you either you don't can, or you don't have the experience to make these kind of decisions with things that you're making? Just curious what all of my friends out there, what you do. And this will probably be the part where I start, you know, crying because these onions are strong. When I make my French onion soup that I do that outside on in our canning kitchen because I just can't handle the onion gases. Well, these look done. Little individual little cake loaves. These need to cool now. And the large one is still in. Dishes are done. So I have one last thing in the oven, and I am going to cut up my kielbasa in the meantime. Sure, go ahead. Got one. Love you. Angelina jokes that this is her end of world meal. If the world was ending and there was nothing else to eat, she would eat this. She does not like sausage, kielbasa, any of that. So in my jars, I'm going to put about a teaspoon of onion salt into each jar. And I do my own onion salt. This is basically like onion powder, salt, dried onion, parsley, a little bit of my Italian seasoning blend, but this is a relatively basic kind of blend. But it's very versatile. I use this for a lot. Has good umami flavor to it. So I have that in all of the jars. I'm then going to go back and do some minced garlic. Obviously with this you could do fresh as well, but this is just convenient. And we're just doing a spoon in each. And I am doing like a cold pack for all of this. So my jars are cold, my ingredients are cold, my canners are cold. And then it will build up the heat and pressure in the canner slowly to not cause any damage to any of the jars or burn the food. Don't want to do that either. All right, so we have the garlic and we have the onion salt. Then we are going to put into each of these onions. to fill these with our kielbasa. We're going to go back and put our potatoes in. Now we got to get our green beans in. We are going to fill our jars. And we are going to debubble and give these a 1-inch headspace. Here's our little debubbler tool, and this tells you the measurements for headspace. So this is a 1-inch right here. So I want to be able to do that and not touch the items in the jar. Looks good. After you do this so many times, you get kind of, good at eyeballing the space. I used to laugh when I would watch Homesteading Family. They're another one of my favorite YouTube. See, this one's too hot, and I could tell that when I filled it. They're another one of my favorite YouTube families, and she used to say, well, I think she still does say pretty frequently, like, you know, things go so smoothly until you turn the camera on and you're trying to do this for millions of people to potentially see. That's when you burn the things. That's when you overfill your jars. That's when you know, it, it's so much different when you're just in your kitchen by yourself as opposed to when you're doing a production. And this one wasn't quite up high enough. That looks so much better. Now this next one is like, I mean, obviously all of this is just my thing and how I do it. But if you see this here and you see this here, it has a little bit of a golden glow. That's because I put just a smidge of chicken bouillon in each of these to give the broth that it made a really good flavor. So I'm going to wipe all of my rims really well with vinegar. Just white vinegar on a paper towel. You can use a clean cloth. I do this to every item that I can. Quick wipe. You don't want to go through all of that work and then have your jar, dogs are making noise, have your jar not seal because you didn't clean the top or because there was a speck of food or anything there. So, wipe real good, and then we are going to get our lids placed. Now you can very clearly see the difference between my two canners. This one is brand new. This one has canned lots of jars. So we're just going to get these in. I have the water slightly warming. And the canners I use are Presto 16-quart canners. These work on my flat top glass stove that I have. I'm actually going to put just 5. All right, so we have our jars in. Just going to spread these out evenly. We are going to get our lid on, and we are going to let the heat slowly build. Now, once we have steam out of the top, I give it 10 minutes before putting the weight on. And mine is a weighted canner, so where I live, it is 10-pound weight. Okay, so here are our orange little sponge cakes, and I made just a very simple glaze for these. It is just some powdered sugar, a little bit of dairy. I used some half and half, a little bit of vanilla extract, and on top I am going to put some orange zest. And then we are just going to do a little zest. Now, I've recently found out, or I should say I've been told by Zachary, that his co-workers are watching our videos. So, guys, these are coming in for all of you. Well, that is if they make it there, if Zachary doesn't claim them. So if you don't see these, it's on him. So that's it. Oop, I actually have a lot of orange zest under here. We're just gonna get that off. And there we go. All right, we have steam, so we're going to give this 10 minutes, and then we're going to put the weight on. And they're both wobbling, so timer starts. This one started wobbling first, so I have two separate timers going, but they're both going. All right, so as you see, it has been about an hour and a half since we turned the heat off. The pressure is now down. See the pressure gauge there, the pressure popper down. And I removed the weights just now. So the next step is that I pop the lid and I leave that for 10 minutes before removing any jars.